All right, folks, welcome back to the TNT show. A little bit of a time crunch today, so we're not going to try to speed through, but we definitely going to try to touch on a lot of the stuff that happened this weekend. A lot of chaos in college football. A couple of the top 12 teams lost, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it, and I'll let Tyler take it away.
Yeah, I think, starting off first, LSU got decimated by Alabama. I really wasn't expecting that, but it's like we talked about. I mean, I kind of figured that Milrow was going to run all over us. We just couldn't stop him. I mean, not really going to make excuses. I mean, we had 2 weeks to prepare, and that's pretty sorry defense to have 2 weeks to prepare for somebody. But hey, hats off to Milrow because he did exactly what he should have. To be 100%
So,
honest,
so I mean, from what I took from the game, from that very first series, and they had
I
that
knew
false
we were
start.
in trouble. Yeah, I knew we were in trouble when he broke
I
off that long run, that 70-yard run. I knew when we kicked when we kicked those two field goals, I knew we were in trouble because obviously we couldn't stop them.
I mean, like I said, on that first series, when they had that first false start on the very first snap, I was like, okay, here we go. But I mean, they settled in after that, and they were. I mean, Alabama looked really good. LSU, I thought they would. I wouldn't necessarily say I expected Alabama to come out and do that to them. I think LSU played as a, the best defense they possibly could have, but it just wasn't enough. And I think Alabama's defense limited LSU's offense like they were supposed to. So, like you said, it's about a preparedness. I think they
Yeah,
got back to preparing the right way and being disciplined out there on the field for a full 4 quarters. And
I
it,
mean,
it definitely
I'm not a coach, but I knew that's what Alabama's game plan was.
yeah, run the ball.
Run the ball. If they stop it, all right. Well, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something else out. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because I mean, they run all over. Milrow run all over us. There wasn't nothing we could do about it. It
Yeah.
was close till halftime, but I knew when we didn't score right before the half, and we didn't score. I knew we were in a little bit of a bind, and we come out and win three and out, and then Alabama. We held our own in the third quarter. It was close there for a little bit, but
Yeah.
we just couldn't get like momentum or anything going.
I knew the game was over when he broke off that 79-yard run
Oh
for a
yeah, yeah,
touchdown.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that crushed the rest of LSU, crushed the rest of LSU spirits. Which I mean, again, like I said, LSU still a good football team. That just wasn't. I don't think they wanted that game more than Alabama wanted that game to make the playoffs. The playoffs were definitely on the line in that game. You could tell by that game who really wanted to make the playoffs more.
Yeah, that and we were. I mean, I'm not going to make excuses. We were all over the place, fumbling the ball, throwing three interceptions like that. You ain't gonna win doing that. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah, no, and Alabama actually capitalized off the turnovers that they created. I mean, they've scored on,
Yep,
I think, all
every
the
one of them.
turnovers but one,
Yeah,
or was
all but one.
it? Yeah. So
Like when he threw when we stopped y'all on 4th and 1, stopped you. I said, okay, this is what we need. Here's our momentum, and what next play? Nos fumbled it, and then y'all scored. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty much a wrap. But we won't sit here and ramble about that too much. The biggest one, I didn't think it was a shocker. Ole Miss beat the brakes off of Georgia.
yeah,
Ole Miss killed them. It wasn't even close, to be honest. And they did it
that's
without their two best players.
another one of those games where I mean your playoff life is on the line, so you really got to want it. And Ole Miss really wanted it. Lane Kiffin definitely wanted it to say, I can win. I can win the big game. He's made his point. That was his statement win. And it wasn't just they held Georgia to 10 points.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, their defense is really good.
yeah,
You
Ole
may
Miss.
not want to catch. Ole Miss is kind of rolling. You may not want to catch them right now.
Yeah, if they make the playoffs, that'd be one of those teams who could, they could mess around and make a run. So yeah, I mean,
Uh,
again, Ole Miss, they, like I said, they did their thing. They
yeah.
limited Georgia, had, caused turnovers, and the chaos has continued for 2 weeks in a row now. So
Um, Miami got beat. Their defense is just god awful. They
I
won't
told you,
make it past the first round if they make it. I know they'll probably make it, but they'll get blown. They'll get dominant. They'll get destroyed when they play somebody that's got a good defense.
yeah. See, I told you, at some point, Miami's defense it was gonna bite them in the butt. I mean, they
Well, it was the mistakes Cam Ward was making. I think he fumbled it. I think they had a couple turnovers that really hurt them because they're used to shootouts. They're used to dogfights. So it's nothing new for Miami. And they almost still won, but Cam Ward fumbled on the last drive.
Yeah, I
So
think that was his only mistake all game. So I mean, again, hats off to their offense because their offense continues to do what they're supposed to do. But the Georgia Tech's defense, again, they wanted. It was all about who wanted it more, and I think that was the theme for this past weekend because Georgia Tech definitely was hunting after that upset because they came to play a really solid.
Georgia Tech was killing the clock too. I mean, they're really
Yeah, they were holding the
Miami's
ball.
defense was trying, but they just couldn't stop Georgia Tech's offense. There really wasn't nothing they could really do.
Well, you got to think too. Georgia Tech's defense was stopping Miami's offense for the most part, so their defense was out there on the field even more. So you put a bad defense on the field even more, they're going to continue to give up points and give up first downs, and the other team's going to continue to chew the clock. So I think they just had a recipe for a loss against Georgia Tech. I mean, I think they just got caught sleepwalking.
Yeah. Another close games: Indiana and Michigan, BYU, Utah. Those are also pretty good teams. BYU still undefeated. It controversial call. We won't really get into that. I mean, it is what it is. They blew the play dead in the end zone. It is what it is. But they're still undefeated.
Yeah, Utah's an athletic fun after what he said, but
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I get it though.
I,
Your emotions are high, but you can't say stuff like that.
yeah, and honestly, from my perspective, I didn't watch the game, didn't see the play, but from
They snapped
what
the
he
ball and
said,
he was running. He was running in the end zone and he threw it down like at the ground. And they said they blew the play dead.
oh,
But
that's
yeah, it was crazy. It was like they snapped the ball, then all of a sudden the play was dead. Like it was crazy. I don't know what was happening. They said they called timeout. I think that's what it was, or something like that, something crazy like that.
yeah,
Indiana, obviously, they struggled. Michigan's got a pretty good defense, um, for the most part. Indiana did struggle, but they won. It was a close game. I think they needed that a little bit so they kind of can prepare for what they are fixing to see. But hey, both still undefeated. I think Indiana's not really getting the love that they deserve, but they don't really have a big staple win. If they beat Ohio State, I don't think there's anything else you can really say.
yeah, that pretty much guarantees them a spot in the conference championship, so they can lose to Oregon by 30. But we'll save that. Save that.
But jumping into next week, that's pretty much all the games from last week that were interesting to even talk about. This week, again, about the same thing. Really, no really big games. We got Texas, Arkansas. I don't think that'll be much of a game. Arkansas is pretty bad. They're not terrible. This is where you don't want to get caught sleeping right here. 11 o'clock. It's early. Arkansas is 5-4, 3-3 in the SEC. Texas comes in sleeping. You never know. I think Texas will win that game though. Arkansas is not that good. They just got blowed out.
Yeah,
They're
I'll
not
take
that. They're not that great.
I'll take Texas by about 2 scores, maybe three, because
They're
their
favored by
offense.
14.
Yeah, their offense has looked really good. What I guess the past.
Plus their defense is going to limit Taylor and Green from running all over the place.
If Taylor Green was a better passer, they'd be a way better football team.
Yeah. They got a solid team, but yeah, Taylor Green's young. He's a rookie. Or a freshman, whatever, however you want to put it. Clemson, Pittsburgh, I think that could be a pretty good game. Obviously, a lot happening here for the ACC, both 2 losses. So a lot of some what's the word I'm looking for? Conference championship could be right here between these two.
Yeah, I think
I like
Pittsburgh.
Clemson. Pittsburgh's, I don't know if they're going to have enough to stop Clemson.
I, Pittsburgh has looked really bad in like the past couple weeks. They got blew out
Yeah.
and they lost a close game. But yeah, I mean,
they've lost back-to-back games.
Yeah, Clemson's coming off a win, but then they got blew out the week before by Louisville. So I think this is one of those games where you just who's going to be the aggressor, who's going to go and punch the other team out first.
It's like you said, who wants it more at this point?
Yeah. This is pretty much the part of the season where it's about who wants it more.
Yeah, make or break now.
Yeah,
yeah, we got Utah, Colorado. This could be big for Colorado right here. They're 7-2. They're 5-1 in the Big 12. They may make I don't know what their conference is looking like, but this could be a big win for them. Here, I don't know if they can beat Utah. Utah's got a pretty good defense. I don't know. They almost beat BYU, and BYU's undefeated. So I don't know if Colorado can beat Utah by 10. That's what they're favored. I think they might make a run in the Big 12. I don't know. I don't really know what the Big 12 looks like.
I just want to point out the fact that you said before the season started that Colorado was not going to be good in the Big 12. And
they got a lot of bad teams, but their 2 losses came from the only ranked teams that they played. So
that's true. I agree with that. That is true.
When they play competition that's actually pretty good, they got beat both times.
Yeah, but those games were still close, though. It's not like they got blowed
out. The Nebraska game really wasn't that close. But anyway.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
But, yeah, I mean, I feel like for people to take Colorado serious, they'd have to actually beat somebody that wasn't 4-5.
That's true, but, I mean, again, you got to think the Big 12 isn't as great as it was or has been the last decade or so because the 2 best teams left and went to a better conference. So,
yeah.
I mean,
you said you wanted to talk about it. We'll talk about Alabama and Mercer. Milroe probably played the first half. I probably wouldn't play him too much. You don't want him getting hurt, especially right now.
Yeah, I mean, games like this, they normally only play the half. He'll play the half, and then it'll be all backups after the half. They just trying to make sure everybody gets in, you get your reps, you try some stuff out that you might want to try out against your next opponent. I'm not saying they're looking forward or ahead or anything like that, but, I mean, this is one of those warm-up games, basically.
Yeah.
So,
or at least that's what you hope so, anyway. That's what you hope for. But, hey, you never know. I'm not saying Mercer's going to beat him, but, hey, you never know.
Crazier things have happened.
Like you said, you come in sleeping, and next thing you know, you're in a dogfight.
Yep.
I don't see that happening, to be honest. But, hey, you never know. I mean, all it takes is for, God forbid, Milroe to get hurt and Alabama be in a lot of trouble. I think they'd still beat her, so they just line up and run the ball. It might be close.
Oh, yeah, it'd be.
But I mean, they would out physical Mercer really quick.
Yeah, more than likely. You'll see a lot.
So
You'll see a lot of explosive plays in that game. More than likely, a lot
yeah,
of points.
you'll see a lot of big runs, big plays.
Yeah,
Ryan Williams will probably have a bunch of big plays because Mercer's not going to be able to cover that. I don't know. They are 9-1. I don't know. They might be pretty good. I don't
yeah.
know. Let's see. I'm scrolling here. Boston College SMU. That could be pretty interesting. That's got a lot of SMU sitting at 5-0 in the ACC. So they're the only loss they have is to who's their loss to? Is it Oregon?
No, it's not. It's,
No, they lost to BYU by a field goal. BYU kicked the game by a field goal.
yeah,
So I mean, yeah, they're sitting. I mean, they're sitting there. Hey, they're another team on the outskirts. You know, they probably wouldn't be able to beat anybody with a good defense because they don't really have a defense. But a lot. I wouldn't say a lot's on the line here, but you know, LSU, Florida. The last thing you want to see as an LSU fan, especially for me, I don't want to see LSU fall off. I mean, we're not playing for anything now, to be 100% honest. I don't think there's any shot that we would make the SEC championship unless something crazy happened. Like y'all got beat by Oklahoma. A lot of crazy stuff would have to happen for us to even have a chance, I would imagine. But hey, this is a big rivalry for us, so I would like to see us bounce back and win out the rest of our games. I mean,
yeah.
we talked about it. We talked about it. You know, the bowl games are irrelevant at this point. So, I mean, you're really not playing for nothing now. Yeah, maybe a New Year's Six bowl, whatever. You know, people are going to opt out, so bowl games are kind of irrelevant at this point. But you don't want to see your team fall off, especially getting drugged down the field like they just did. So.
I think if Lagway's not playing, y'all are gonna win that game. Just like how Texas beat them. Texas beat the brakes off of Florida. This
Yeah, they
past
just
week.
couldn't do anything.
So
Honestly,
right
if
now,
I'm Florida, I probably wouldn't play Lagway. There's really no point to be 100% honest with you. So, yeah, it sucks, but there's really no reason to put him back in harm's way for a bowl game, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, if it were me, I probably would. I talked to him
I
about it and
would.
said, hey, if you want to go, by all means, I'm not gonna hold you back. They cleared you, you know. But
You
if
don't
we want
have
to
to.
err on the yeah, if we want to err on the safe side, let's just you're our guy next season. Let's just let's focus on that. Let's focus on going
Getting you
into
back
the
healthy, yeah.
summer and the spring, get you healthy. We're gonna reload and look to make a push for the playoffs next season. So I
Yeah.
think that's what Florida should be concerned with. Now, the only other thing I have for this episode is what these losses do to the rankings.
Hmm.
Um, I'm interested to see because obviously those drop tomorrow. I'm interested to see how the top 12 looks now that Miami lost, Georgia lost, obviously. Like, do they fall out of the top 12? Are they on the outside looking in now? Like, what's that
Yeah.
picture going to look like?
They got another tough game Saturday. They play Tennessee. So, you know, if Tennessee can somehow spark something here, Nico got hurt, so I don't know the extent of his injury. So, I mean, Tennessee's got a good defense, and Carson Beck hasn't been playing that great. But yeah, like you said, if Tennessee can somehow beat Georgia Saturday, Georgia's done if they lose.
Yeah, no, they're quite literally, they have to fight in every game for their
But
playoff
like,
lives.
but like we talked about at the beginning, and like we talked about offset, you know, right now, a lot of these two-loss teams, you don't want to play in the SEC championship. You don't want to play in your conference because if you lose, you're kind of in a lot of. You're probably not. You might not make the playoffs if you lose. So if I'm
Exactly.
Alabama, I don't want to make the SEC championship. Sure, if you win, I think you get the first round bye if you win. But
Yeah. If you
personally, I'm
lose,
taking. Just give me. Hey, I'll take my chances. Maybe you'll get
yeah,
in there, play. Maybe you'll go up against like I don't know, SMU or Miami or something. They ain't got a defense, so if you can
Yeah,
stop their offense, you're probably going to win because they just
yeah. If you're one of the two lost teams, you're probably looking more for
yeah. If I'm Alabama, I don't know if I want to go to the SEC championship. Not with two losses, maybe with one, you could
yeah,
make a case. Well, okay,
one's
well
more
I got
favorable.
beat. I got beat in the SEC championship by obviously the best team. Well, yeah, the best team in the SEC. They won the SEC, so you can
Exactly.
make that
So
case. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
you definitely don't want to go and then take that loss. Because that loss will put you out of the playoffs. So you're probably, if I'm like you said, if I'm them, probably looking more towards can I get in the favorable part of the bracket? Because they can kind of get in that little area of the bracket where a lot of those games they have a good shot to win and go to the national championship. Then forget the conference championship.
Yeah, who
It's all
cares
about the
about that? That's
national.
just one more game you got to play.
Yeah,
So I'm curious to know how that part works. Like, okay, so what? So if you're playing in your conference, what are the other teams doing? So like, if Alabama doesn't make the conference, what are they playing somebody or?
no, I mean they're pretty much just. I think they're just waiting until the dust clears after the
Well,
conference championships, and it
I guess
changes.
if you win the conference, you're locked into that first four seeds. So you're going to get a first round bye. So I guess it kind of it works itself out.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And you don't want anybody hurt. Last thing you
Yeah,
want to
no,
do is get hurt.
that's pretty much all I have too. So we got us a little quick episode for our college football this week, but that's just game wise. There weren't a bunch of big time knockout drag out games. It was only just a few. Same
Yeah,
thing
I
going into the
I
next week.
think we're pretty much done with the big slates. Every now like there's these next couple weeks, obviously, there'll be some big games, maybe
Yeah,
one or two, especially get towards the end of the year because you'll have the conference championships, you'll have the end of the year. Texas plays Texas A&M at the end of the year.
yep,
There's going to be a lot of big games. Just won't be all at the same time. But
yeah. Yeah, the biggest slate we got coming up towards the end of the football season will obviously be like rivalry week. So that's going to be like Iron Bowl, Egg
yeah,
Bowl, Texas plays
Texas,
Texas
Texas
A&M. We
A&M.
got
Yeah,
games like that. So, obviously we got the rankings. They drop on Tuesday. So we'll have another update for that. And other than that, college football wise, I mean, we're pretty much, like I said, we're coming down the stretch, getting ready to go into the playoffs. So yeah, we'll keep the updates coming like we do every week. And that's pretty much all I have. Tyler, you got anything else?
that's all I got.
Okay, well, as always, just like, comment, share, subscribe. We go live well, Tyler goes live on TikTok every day. So if you happen to be on TikTok, tap into that. He's normally talking about NFL football, taking picks, fantasy, stuff like that. Um, we got a lot of stuff coming. We've been talking offset just about some different things we can implement and different things that we want to do. So yeah, that's pretty much all we got for today. So we'll catch y'all on the next one.